My God, man. Do you know what this means? This skitter's gonna be turned upside down, I tell you, upside down. If you get on his bad side, brother, you're done for. Now, it's only a matter of time before he finds out, and when he does, no matter where he is, get ready, gentlemen, because hell's a-coming. Hell's a-coming. Hell's a-coming. Hell's a-coming. Hell's a-coming.
In a world where podcasting is king, you are listening to Gundam at MAHQ.
Who shot you in the ass?
Who? That who would be you.
Me? I shot you?
Yeah.
I mean, I was shooting. Yeah, I did a lot of shooting. I mean, but I ain't saying I shot you in the ass. I mean, I ain't saying I didn't shoot you. But
Gundam.
damn! Somebody shot you in the ass.
Tell me about it.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Gundam at MAHQ. This is episode 313, and I am one of your hosts, Chris, joined by Soulbro. Say hello, Soulbro.
Hey, man, and I'm unmuted. Let's go.
Sure about that?
I am indeed, man. It's a shock to everyone.
All right. So we do not have Neo with us tonight. He is dealing with a personal matter, so he'll be back hopefully next episode, but we wish him the best otherwise. But we do, however, have Pedro with us, so say hello, Pedro.
You know, when you were introing and you said Gundam, it threw me for a loop because I was 100% expecting you to say welcome to Chaos Theater.
Oh, shit.
This is every
man.
fucking time. I've been going back and re-listening to some of those old episodes just because, you know, sometimes it's nice. It's nice to remember the old stuff.
The good old days. The dusty days.
Yeah,
yes.
one may argue that's the whole reason for the existence of these podcasts.
Yeah.
Yes. Our nostalgia-rotted brains.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, you know, Pedro was not able to join us for 1985, which, you know, was an auspicious year to have covered since that also was your 40th birthday. But, you know,
Yeah.
life sometimes throws you curveballs.
Man.
Yeah, it comes at you fast.
Yeah. However, Pedro's presence by now, people should understand that it's time to do another yearly discussion. So, of course, for this episode, we're going to be talking about 1995. We're going to be talking about TV, OVA, movies, games from, you know, America and Japan. So just as a quick reminder, we are not going to get in depth about a lot of these because plenty of these have been covered on previous episodes of Gundam and on Chaos Theater. Also, we're not going to do the news today, not just because of Neo's absence, but because we got a lot of stuff to cover. So even if he was here, we would have opted out of doing the news. So I am just going to get right into it, and we're going to start with the TV/OVA category, and we got some heavy hitters right at the gate.
Oh shit!
We're going to start with new mobile report Gundam Wing, which, of course, everything on this list today is having its 30th anniversary this year. So, let's just get that out of the way. So, obviously, Gundam Wing, hugely popular in Japan and in the US, and was the foundation of the American Gundam boom when it aired here 5 years later, which means that this year is also the 25th anniversary of Gundam Wing's American debut.
Oh,
and
true.
It's still going strong. We still got kits coming out for it. We got video game collaborations. We got action figures. A couple of years ago, we had the Glory of the Losers manga. We had Frozen Teardrop. So there's a lot of Gundam Wing still out there in the world, and it just keeps chugging along 30 years later, which of course, it's interesting just to note the passage of time that Gundam Wing is now way older than MSG was at the time that Gundam Wing premiered. But, what is time?
Flat circle, etc., etc.
Stole my line. Fuck.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Any comments on Gundam Wing?
Man, this is definitely the first Gundam series I watched in depth from start to finish. Thank you, Toonami. It definitely helped to put the Toonami block on the map. So, and by doing so, helped to bring us a lot more anime on American television. So, this show means a lot to me. I'll still never forget the day I saw the trailer for this, voiced by the legend Peter Cullen, which did all the major Toonami promos at the time, and it's one of the best he's ever done. Really sold the show, man. They knew what they were doing when they picked them up to do the dub, the voiceovers for those trailers, and he made it sound like it was the most epic event that was coming out. And
it was, and that trailer's so iconic that
Yes.
Toonami went and remastered it with Blu-ray footage, and they put it out on YouTube. So you can go watch, Toonami Gundam Wing, whatever. Look it up on YouTube. It still holds up all this time later.
Yeah,
with his amazing voice.
It's a linchpin on examples of how to do a promo for a show that's not even native to our shores. And he killed it. But watching that show, the experience of watching it not only on Toonami but later on the Midnight Run, which led us down the road to eventually Adult Swim, was also a fantastic thing. Seeing the more violent version with actual curse words and things like that. It wasn't as graphic as one would think, but they got away with more on the Midnight Run version of the show. And
You could hear at 5 o'clock, "I'll destroy you."
Yes.
And then at midnight, "I'll kill you."
Yes. It was
Or, Duo being the Great Destroyer. Which is just, Not quite as bad as Tenchi Muyo T, but almost as cringe.
Almost. But I would definitely record the nighttime version when I was taping the show.
If you're gonna pick a version, pick the version that doesn't treat you like a fucking baby.
Yeah, but it was cool. The kids got to see Gundam, and I got to watch a full Gundam series. Even though my first exposure to Gundam was a few episodes of 0083. But yeah, the royal treatment was Gundam Wing, and I'll always be grateful to it. A lot of people knock Gundam Wing because it's not as as refined as some of the other shows, but I'm always grateful to it. And I know a couple of years back, both Neo and myself sat down and rewatched the show, and had I had a deeper appreciation for it once we finished, especially all the things that it covers and how fast the show moves. So I recommend it to anybody who wants to watch a Gundam series. There's other Gundam series I'd recommend too, but I don't knock Wing in that regard. But I could go on for hours. What are you guys' thoughts on it?
I've never actually have sat and watched more than an episode or two. Not because I didn't think it was bad. It's just one of those things where I missed it at the time, and I've never really sat and gone through it. Even though I bought it on DVD and I bought it on Blu-ray, I own it because I want to have all things Gundam available. And
they're not available anymore.
Yeah.
Shit.
Now they all cost like bajillion dollars if you want to buy anything.
Yeah, just like the good old days post Bandai Visual when those DVD sets fucking spiked up in price too. But I will get to it one day just because I do want to go through and watch. And I love 00. is my favorite. And from what everybody says, like it 00 is just like an updated wing for the odds. Weird to think that is
not talking
so.
About Gundam 00 for 2 years, so look, forget about Gundam 00. It doesn't exist right now. Yeah, I will say that my views on Wing softened over time compared to when I first watched it. But in the end, what I would say is true consistently is that Wing is flawed but enjoyable. They were not afraid to swing for the fences, and they did a better job of what they tried to do than some of the later shows. So. No, it's a rough ride sometimes, but it's still entertaining. And if you, of course, want to get into some nostalgia of Wing and hear some interesting stories about its roller coaster of a production, our friends at Giant Robot FM, they did a Gundam Wing history episode with Mark Simmons.
Oh,
they talked just about the production of the series and kind of some wild stories about what was going on behind the scenes with that show. And it is crazy when you hear about some of these things. I'll give you for instance, the fact that the original director Masashi Ikeda was fired about halfway through.
Oh,
and in his place, he was replaced with Shinji Takamatsu, who was directing Golden Brave Goldran, which is on our list. He was wrapping up that show, and he was also launching Gundam X.
Oh,
so he was working on all three of these shows simultaneously, and I don't know how he did all that without losing his damn mind.
Right?
I mean, he probably didn't have a mind left after all that.
He might have been relieved that Gundam X got canceled. It's like, one less core to have to worry about. I can just take a fucking vacation.
Maybe that's why it got canceled. It's just he was just like, no, I'm not doing it.
Stretched too thin, man. But it's amazing what he was able to complete in that time, going from one series to the next. Was there any overlap with Goldran and Gundam Wing? I'm imagining there might have been a little bit.
They were airing at the same time. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Damn.
That sucks.
So yeah, he was working on both of these shows and getting Gundam X ready to go, which launched immediately after Wing ended. So no rest for him there.
Yo, man, that's insane. Like, it's enough for just to take on one project, plus 50 episode projects at that. Although, of course, didn't go that far, but Wing definitely did, and I have to check the episode count for Goldran, but that's at least 26.
Yeah, I mean, he might, but I mean, here's the thing: it might not have gone the full run, but that they were at least planning for it.
Yeah, that's wild, man. Props to him, man. That's a Herculean task right there. Put a lot on his back.
Gold ran 48 episodes and completely overlapped with Wing. So yeah, he was a busy guy.
He was a tired little boy.
Yeah, that's diabolical, man. Yo, that's crazy. I'm checking. February 4th is when Goldran started, 1995, and April 1995. So yeah, is when Wing started. So that sucks. You know what though? I haven't seen Goldran. I can't speak on it, but Gundam Wing, he did a solid job, and X too. I quite enjoyed X.
I just want to mention this one out of sequence since we're already talking about it, but yes, Goldran debuted in 1995. Of course, it's part of the Brave franchise. It was the 6th out of 8 series. Shinji Takamatsu directed it. He directed, I believe, its 2 predecessors as well. I haven't seen it, but you can look at all of the mecha designs on MAHQ, because one of the big projects I did last year was a full Mecha update for every single Brave series. And let me tell you, 1, that took a lot of time. 2, a lot of these mecha, all by Okawara, they kind of all bleed together after a while because there's only so many fucking cop robots and firefighter robots, construction robots, and ninja robots, and airplane robots that you can do before they kind of all start to look the same.
Right?
That's a very like one person me problem because nobody else would be doing this insanity that I was doing of building all these mecha profiles one after the other. So yeah, that was definitely an experience, and that's all that I can say about Gold Ran, which I have not watched. I have seen some of the other Braves. Obviously, I've seen all of Gal Gaigar. I reviewed a bit of Dagwan. I'll be getting back to that someday, but cannot speak to Gold Ran.
Man, yeah, I've never seen it. It's just like you. I've only seen, well, for me, I've only seen Gal Gaigar and its other stories in that series. But I've always had interest, especially after playing some of the Super Robot Wars games, and just being exposed to the different Brave series in those. But I love the designs in those series, even though they can run together, as you mentioned.
There's some cool designs, don't get me wrong, but like
Yeah.
some of the stuff looks a little samey. Obviously Gal Gaigar is the only one that got released in America. All of the others though have since been fan subs, so you can get on the methods and find them, or most of them at least. I think Old Ran has been fan sub, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Next,
the methods deliver. Go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got an obscure series called Neon Genesis Evangelion.
I never heard of it.
Never heard of this, man. What is this? A
No.
mystery ass series?
Some unknown studio called Gynux. I don't know. I've
Gynux?
never heard of it.
Geenux?
Gunux. I don't know.
Hmm.
Whatever. So yeah, Evangelion. Obviously, one of the most famous anime ever. We talked about it in depth in our 300th episode and our 100th episode. So
Yeah, crazy that you talked about it twice, Chris.
yeah,
And you
crazy,
too.
isn't it?
And you too, so bro.
Yeah. We lose Sobro?
Oh, man, we actually didn't talk. We talked about this not too long ago in episode 300, so I'll keep it short. Definitely an inspirational series. When it comes to production and just the angles that they came at this with, and just from plotting and everything too. They broke a lot of ground and they broke a lot of ground when it came to storytelling in this show and how characters were depicted as well. Like Shinji is not your common mecha protagonist, although a lot of inspiration did come from previous works, especially Ideon and some other series from the 70s and whatnot, for Anno and the rest of the crew that worked on this. Fantastic series. It's also it can be quite what's the word?
Pressing?
What's that?
Pressing?
Yeah, I would say so. But yeah, it's a good time, man. It's a memorable series as well. And a shout out to Yazi. He pointed out earlier that in Gundam Wing, there were two characters that were inspirations for two Street Fighter characters, Yun and Yang, which would be Duo and what's his name? The angsty one, Wu Fei. Yeah, that's right, Wu Fei. The designs also were inspirations for those two Street Fighter characters. I meant to mention that earlier, but thank you, Yazi, for the reminder. But yeah, that's all I have to say on Ava for the time being.
Yeah, Ava's one of those shows that like I definitely thought was okay for the longest time, and then when I gave it another shot when I was much older, I had a much better appreciation for it, and I understood more what they were going for, and sort of a combination of having watched a lot of anime like before and after, like seeing what it was like before and seeing like how it changed the industry, and also just becoming older and kind of realizing that, oh no, this poor child It's not no fuck Shinji. It's oh no, Shinji is incredibly traumatized. Like he has maybe the most trauma out of any. I don't know. It'd be hard to think of one character that might have as much trauma as he does, and I honestly feel that like
Victory.
Oh yeah, that's pretty close. That's pretty close. But I also feel that
Camino
like the way
literally
that
got his brain fried, so that's pretty traumatic. So.
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, like it's fried, so like he doesn't have to worry about it. It's already fried. Like it's not like he has to live with it and keep like kicking around like Shinji does. And I also find that like Eva is like for like newer fans, because maybe people have a better appreciation for the with mental health issues, that maybe now they watch it with a little more sympathy than people used to.
Yes, the 90s and the aughts were definitely the era of shut up and get in the robot.
Yeah.
And, now people look at it through the lens of like, maybe this is incredibly fucked up and these adults should not be forcing these teenage children to live through these absolute apocalyptic horrors.
It's like in your teens and your 20s, it's like ha 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 ha, and then you hit like your 30s and you're like, oh no, oh this is terrible, this is really bad. Those poor kids, get them out of the fucking robots.
Yeah. I don't have much more to say about Evangelion. Iconic, transformational, still relevant 30 years later, maybe even more popular now than it was when it debuted, probably, I would say, because it's everywhere all over the world. Like, I was in Tokyo last year and saw in Shinjuku Evangelion Pachinko Casino.
Man. And did McDonald's have a promotion going on at the time you were there, or maybe that was afterwards? I know they recently had
It was after.
Yeah, they had something going on with them recently. So, yeah, it's still there's always a resurgence of Eva every couple of years, and many generations have watched it at this point. It's kind of amazing that it's been 30 years since it premiered, and it's still going strong from what we all know. Now you got the Evangelion team working on a Gundam series, so
that's insane.
Make sure you keep your copies of that Super Samoan edition.
Yeah, indeed. I definitely got mine.
Never lose it.
Never lose the Super Samoan edition. But yeah, nuts that Evangelion's creative leads are involved with Gundam now. Like, who would have thought?
Yeah, I would have never guessed.
And this is not Hideaki Anno's first rodeo. He did serve as a mecha designer on Char's Counterattack.
Mm-hmm.
So, but obviously that's a different role than what he's doing now. So it's crazy how things change over time. Like, I'm sure at different points he would have said, Hideaki Anno doing a Gundam series? Which you still hear a bit of today. But, in the post-Fooly Cooly world, anybody from that creative team being involved with Gundam now, like, nobody would have ever imagined that before it was announced.
Exactly.
And you know what? I gotta say that those rebuild movies did a lot to kind of not just keep the popularity of it going, but to sort of bring very interesting narrative closure to it that I think as an adult I appreciate the ending of the show, but I do like the sense of finality that last movie has. I appreciate it. I'm like, thank you. I didn't know I needed this, but I appreciate that. And again, like bringing it back, and again, it's not always successful. Obviously, nothing is going to be perfect, but I gotta say that I left those 4 movies a much bigger appreciator and fan of the whole franchise.
Right on.
Yeah. All right. Next, we have Armitage 3. This is a cyberpunk OVA that is more well known in America for being edited down into a movie version called Polymatrix, with a heavy promotion on its English dub, which featured in the title role Elizabeth Berkley, fresh off of Showgirls.
Right?
and
boy.
also Kiefer Sutherland in the doldrums of his career from the mid to the late 90s when he was slumming it before 24 came and resurrected his career.
Mm-hmm.
So he
Yeah,
wasn't
so-
really gruff. He was just strung out.
Oh shit!
I mean, this is not a high point of his career.
No.
Nor necessarily is his appearance in one of Peter and my favorite movies, Dark City, where he talked like this. And
Oh, wow.
It was very odd, and that was a strange way for him to be playing a role. But he had no choice because the pickings were slim, you see.
Yo,
Take any road that is offered to you.
I'm trying to remember if he talked like that in A Time to Kill, which is around the same time. He was the villain in that movie. But
I don't think he did, because he was a real weirdo in Dark City.
yeah.
It's like,
But, which
hey,
we'll
Kiefer,
get to in 3
Kiefer, could you not do that? Don't do that anymore.
So, Armitage 3, I only saw the movie version once or twice. It was pretty well known. And I just recall it being kind of a generic cyberpunk story, like, didn't really jump out at me one way or the other. I don't know if either of you all have seen it.
I saw it when it came out on DVD. My friend Show was collecting every anime DVD that came out, and I believe this was a Pioneer release. So
Yes, this was Pioneer.
It was Pioneer. I miss Pioneer actually, because they gave me a lot of great enjoyable anime moments. But yeah, I saw it the once. I didn't think their performances were all that great, but back in those days, dubs you either got good ones or bad ones. There was rarely any in between. But yeah, I mean, it was. I like the cyberpunk world that it presented. But I can't really say much. I've been wanting to revisit it for a while, but apparently in another version, I believe the main character is voiced by Juliette Lewis in Dual Matrix. So not only did Elizabeth
Not seen
Berkley,
that, so
yeah, this is kind of wild. That this character would be voiced by two celebrities at that time. So yeah, very interesting. But yeah, I don't have really much to say, but it looked cool. So there you go.
All right, next on our list, this one I'm probably going to go through real fast. El Hazard, The Magnificent World. I have been aware of this franchise forever, but I have literally never touched it, so I have not a single thing to offer about it.
I do. This is one of my favorite animes of all time. It is a what do they call it? The I forget what they call it. It starts with the letter I. Isekai. It's an Isekai series. Yeah. One of the earlier ones that came out back in the day has to do with this main character Makoto, who discovers an ancient artifact at the bottom of the school. Him and his rival that he doesn't even know is his rival, a guy named Katsuhiro Janai, who's this jealous bastard that wants to be in charge of the school council. Anyway, they fight over what's happening down in the basement, and they get transported along with the coach of one of their teachers that happens to be a coach, and Janai's sister to another world. And when they get there, Janai ends up siding with the main villain, this woman that runs this this tribe of bug people called the Bugram, while Makoto has to go on this journey to try to find a woman that looks just like him, who is the princess, one of the two princesses of the nation, in order to find her, rescue her, and bring her back. But he has to disguise himself as her in order to keep up the appearance that she's not kidnapped. And it's just a silly show, and it has an incredible dub. It's a lot of fun, and it's very short. I think it's like maybe 5 to 7 episodes. There are sequels and TV show spinoffs that are just as enjoyable. But yeah, El Hazard is fantastic. I recommend it if you want to get in and out an Isekai series that is very light in tone and a lot of fun. Check out this old school Isekai series. You probably like it. I know the genre's been done to death, but anytime people tell me how burnt out they are on Isekai, I tell them check out El Hazard. It's fucking phenomenal. So yeah, I
can deal with Isekai if it's not like, creep gets reincarnated in some fantasy harem world. Like that's what's tiresome, and with a ridiculously long title.
Yeah, this is definitely not one of those. It's short, sweet, and to the point, and it's a lot of fun. It was an OVA series when it came out, and yeah, I collected the tapes. I bought initially I think the first tape I bought was dubbed, and I made the mistake of buying the second volume subbed in one of the clamshell cases. I didn't even pay attention. I was just happy to find it, and then I kept it and just got the English dub from another person. But it's really good, and this is a pioneer release as well, at least back in the day.
It was.
So it certainly was.
It was.
And it's made by the same people who did Tenchi Muyo as well. So I like it more than Tenchi, to be quite honest with you. It's more my vibe than Tenchi ever was. But yeah, it's an enjoyable show, and I hope more people check it out.
Well, speaking of pioneer releases, that also applies to our next title on the list, Fushigi Yugi: The Mysterious Play. So this is a manga adaptation, and it's a shoujo series, and it came out at a time when, if you wanted to get shoujo series in America, that was pretty hard to come by, because the late 90s were still the era of tits and ultraviolence, and this does not get into either. So it is a isekai story as well. Two Japanese schoolgirls named Miyaka and Yui, who get transported to like fairy tale mythological China, and they get split up, and Miyaka becomes the priestess of this kingdom, and it's a harem story where like the emperor is in love with her, and this common boy named Tamahome is in love with her, and there's political intrigue, and her friend Yui briefly becomes her arch nemesis, and there's betrayals and romance and all sorts of craziness going on. So you can read the manga, you can check out the anime, long out of print, so you'll have to resort to methods for that. It got 2 seasons and an OVA. And it's pretty well known in old fandom circles. It's one of those, like I said, rare examples of a shoujo series coming out in America at a time when, selection of things was not as broad as it is now.
Yeah, my wife's a big fan of the series. She I know she owns the anime on DVD and has a lot of the manga as well. I've never watched it personally, but we have a wall scroll in our bedroom of it, so I at least know
I bought
much.
it back in the day on VHS to really date myself.
Oh
so.
shit! You're a true fan, sir. Nice.
Peter, you haven't seen Fushigi Yugi, have you?
No, that's another one that's kind of a blank space. That's a little bit before my time.
All right, next one on the list is Golden Boy, which Pervo
my goodness.
OVA.
Yes.
I will turn this over to Sobro. I have seen this, but you're the one who put it on the list. So
I did.
I'll hand it off to you.
Yes, Golden Boy is one of my favorite OVAs of all time, man. It is hilarious. It brought over here by ADV back in the day. I believe the guy who dubbed Kentaro Oe, the main character, his name was Doug Smith or something like that. I met him a few times at several different conventions, and funny guy. I don't know him personally or anything like that, but he was I want to say a Photoshop artist or something like that at ADV, and he was just a entertaining guy to the people that worked there, and they came up with the idea to have him dub the main character, and I just think it was one of those right place, right time things where when he did the dub, he just brought his energy to it, and it just made it funnier than I think it should have been. But he's as a gentleman that basically Kentaro Oe is about to graduate from law school. And decides that he doesn't want to follow a conventional path in life and instead be a freighter, which is someone that travels around Japan doing odd jobs and taking jobs and then leaving to go to the next place just to get the experience to fill out his journal. And he goes to these different places to get different jobs. And when he does, he meets the most incredible women. He doesn't so much try to seduce them or anything like that. He just wants to get to know them and hopefully he'll have a shot at them. But it usually gets him into trouble. And that trouble usually ends up getting him beat up or something like that. So the scenarios are very wacky. One particular episode, he has to work for a corrupt mayor of a town who might be tied into the Yakuza. But his daughter is sexually messing with him, like trying to titillate him, but she's underage, and he's trying not to have anything to do with that. It's super stupid, but it's a fun series, man. The last episode is based up in a animation studio, so it's kind of a meta commentary on the series in general with the way it's produced and all that. It's a fantastic show. The best episode I would say is the swimming episode, because there's a sequence in that episode that had me on the floor, and it's when he attempts to swim for the first time. It is incredibly funny. If you have never checked it out, it is on the mature side of things when it comes to humor. So, there's nudity in it and whatnot. So watch at your own discretion, but not safe for work, but it's a fantastic series if you can find it.
Yeah, I think that one's
that's one of those
out of print.
Yeah,
that's one of those shows that like has been, well, maybe not memory hold, because there's definitely a lot of older fans, but it's one that like I've never heard anybody reference, like anybody who is not an elder millennial.
Yeah.
Definitely
for old
it definitely
timers.
had its time. Like people talked about this all the time in the 90s, and yeah, it's kind of completely fallen off a cliff.
Yeah.
Like anime like this like doesn't really have like much of an audience anymore outside of old farts. So
Yeah.
not surprising that younger people wouldn't really take to it.
Yeah, that's fair.
There used to be a lot of movies like this too, like Porky's and whatnot. It's kind of have that same kind of humor to it. So I think it's a product of an era, and I still think it's hilarious. But not everybody might think so. But if you do enjoy it, let me know what you thought of it. That's what I'm curious about.
All right, next on our list is Gunsmith Cats, and this is the 3-episode OVA adaptation of Kenichi Sonoda's manga that is sort of a loose spin-off of Riding Bean, because both featured the character of Ally Vincent in slightly different incarnations. Riding Bean depicts Rally as being white with blonde hair, and Gunsmith Cats depicts her as Indian with dark hair.
Oh.
So,
Yeah.
there's that going on. It's set in Chicago, and there's a lot of gunplay and cars, because Kenichi Sonoda loves American cars and American guns, and boy, does he let you know it between Riding Bean and Gunsmith Cats, especially if you look in the manga.
Mhm.
Gunsmith Cats, like just the level of detail he puts into the Chicago locations, the guns, the cars. Like this guy is definitely a big old dork about these subjects.
Wow.
And that carries through into this OVA as well, which was initially released by ADV back in the day, went out of print for a very long time, and then a couple of years ago was license rescued in a Kickstarter by AnimeGo.
Man. Yeah, I've only seen this one time, but I've seen like clips of it all throughout the decades though. And but I was on a Sonata kick after Bubblegum Crisis, so I watched this and Riding Bean basically back to back. I want to say it was at Show's house because he had it on tape, and I've always wanted to revisit it, but it was cool from what I remember. But yeah, any thoughts, Pedro?
I've only read the manga. I read maybe like 2 or 3 volumes of it, and yeah, like that art is really hard. I always think of him and oh man, can't remember the artist for Oh My Goddess.
Oh shit,
Keiichi. No, that's the main character. Shit. Okay, I'll remember it later. But he's also a real big fan of cars and bikes and stuff, and you can really tell that because like whenever he has, anytime there's a bike race, like yes, the ladies
Escape
look absolutely
Fujishima.
lovely. There we go. That man loves him some fucking bikes and stuff, and I think there was like 1 or 2 like action sequences that had some pretty interesting looking weaponry, and I always kind of tie those two together just because of when I started reading manga and actually seeing that change from starting from like, early 80s art style into 90s, transitioning into the early aughts, and then, finishing off in the mid aughts. which would have been interesting to kind of see for some older series like Gunsmith Cats.
I would say for Sobro, Gunsmith Cats, the manga or its sequel, Gunsmith Cats Burst, they're much more substantive than the OVA, which is just 3 episodes and just this
Oh yeah.
self-contained story. The one thing about Gunsmith Cats, which we kind of have to mention, that's a little bit cringe in retrospect, is that Rally's bounty hunting partner, Minnie May, is a very young former prostitute of extremely questionable age, and
Oh.
it's kind of icky,
Oh wow! I did not know. I didn't
especially
realize
because she has an older boyfriend
Hmm.
in the manga at least, and yeah, it's
that. Yeah, that didn't age
I
well.
did
not the
not
greatest
remember
thing.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's not great.
Woo!
yeah, it's not great,
Yeah, no pun
not
intended.
great.
Yeah.
No pun intended. But yeah, that's that is a little scumbag. No question.
Hey, guns and cars, right?
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
Guns and Cars. Don't pay attention to any of the other.
You're just right. Just sweep everything
unfortunate
else under the
things.
rug.
Yeah, guns and cars.
Guns and cars.
Next on our list here is Ixer Girl Ixelian, which I have not seen. I've only ever seen the original. So, do you want to talk about this one, Sobro, or did you just put it on the list for
I put it on
completion's
the list
sake?
just in case anybody had seen it. So if no one has, we'll move forward.
Well, the same applies to the next on the list. Saber Marionette R is another franchise that I've been aware of these shows since the beginning, but I have literally no experience with it, have not seen it, couldn't tell you anything about it.
Yeah, I saw J like back when it came out. I never saw R though, so I can't speak much on this either.
All right. Well, the next one I definitely can speak to, and
Oh,
that is
shit.
The Slayers. So this is the TV adaptation of Hajime Kanzaka's fantasy light novels, and they are the continuing stories about Lena Inverse, a very powerful sorceress in a generic European fantasy world, who is very voracious eater, and also not happy about being flat chested. So she's very it's very triggered by that, and she goes on all sorts of misadventures. In the TV series, she has some companions, a stupid swordsman named Gowry, a sort of half chimera dude named Zelgadis, who's a sorcerer, and a very annoying young lass named Amelia, who is a princess and has a very ugly father. And they go on all sorts of adventures against dark lords and gods, and have world-ending stakes sometimes, but also just random, insane misadventures, because Lena always causes a trail of destruction, especially when she uses her signature spell, the Dragon Slave. So, you have the light novels that you can read, which they have more recently by J Novel Club. You have the TV series that roughly adapts them. You have the original season, which debuted in 1995. Then you have Slayers Next, which is the best one, Slayers Try. And then back in the 2010s, the series came back with Slayers Revolution / Evolution R, which is kind of a flawed series in the end, but interesting to see everything updated in like that modern animation style, but it's the exact same old designs for the characters and the same old voice actors. So there's that. There's various video games. There's OVAs and movies that are prequels to the TV show and feature Lena adventuring with Naga the Serpent, extremely tall and big-breasted, arrogant sorceress who just loves to hear the sound of her own awful laugh.
Right.
Almost all of this is out of print, so you're going to have to resort to the methods if you want to watch most of this anime. Anybody else want to comment on the Slayers?
I don't have much to say. I've seen a few episodes here and there. My wife's a big fan. There's another series that came out this year that she has stuff for, and owns the series on DVD if I ever want to watch it. But yeah, from what I've seen of it, it was fun. So I did want to ask about the differences between the OVA and the TV show. I do know that Naga is she's strictly on the OVAs. Is that right?
Naga?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's only in the OVAs and movies.
Gotcha.
So you will not see her. You will hear references to her
Mm-hmm.
in the TV series because of her connection to someone on the TV series, but you do not see her on the TV series.
Is she in the books or any of the other stuff at all? Or is she like just primarily appearing in the OVA and that's it?
I've never read any of the novels, so I couldn't tell you.
Well, shit. I don't have much else to say, but it always looked like a cool series to me.
Pedro, you ever watch Slayers back in the day?
We had Slayers at our anime club in college. So I remember watching at least the first season. I think it was. I don't remember what season it was that we ended up showing, but we watched at least one season, and it was kind of a fun. I mean, I know this sounds like a pejorative, but it's just kind of like a fun generic fantasy show for an anime generic fantasy show. And I thought it was fun, but I don't really remember much about it.
It has more depth than you would expect, especially in Slayers Next. So
yeah, it was more of I just didn't get deep into it.
If you're ever feeling like watching some old anime, it's worth a revisit.
Yeah.
Slayers was another one of those shows that was all over the place in the 90s on the American fandom and definitely has fallen off. Although I still think has more relevance and potential reach to it now than, say, Golden Boy, as we just mentioned.
Yeah.
So next up on our list is Tenchi Universe, and since Solbro was the one who put this on the list, I will turn it over to him.
Yeah, Tenchi Universe. I want to say this is the TV show proper for Tenchi Muyo. It is, from what I'm seeing here on the Wikipedia. This is actually my favorite adaptation of Tenchi. Although I do like the OVA series, the TV show kind of takes a lot of the ideas from that and expands on them. I believe Kagome, I want to say, or Kione is in this. Who is Mihoshi's partner of the space police that are in the show. But they don't show up as quickly as in the show, so they don't show up as quickly as in the OVA as they do in the show. But I think this has a better balancing of the cast. What was the best thing? The thing I liked about this the most is that Tenchi the movie ties into this, which I think is probably the best out of all the movies and whatnot for Tenchi. Tenchi the movie 2000 is the best of those movies. It has a very emotional core to that story surrounding about Tenchi's mom. But this TV show was fantastic. It also aired on Toonami as well. Heavily edited, but it was it was on the block for a little while. But yeah, it's
to have some tea, Tenchi?
Yeah.
Want some tea.
And they brought back everybody who dubbed the characters' voices in the OVA as well. So there was a continuity on that front. Tenchi's dad has always been my favorite character in the whole franchise. So anytime he shows up and has something stupid to say, I'm right there with it. But yeah, it's a cool show. Again, I put it second to El Hazard, but Tenchi Universe is definitely my favorite of all the Tenchi series.
Pedro?
Not really a Tenchi guy.
Well, shit.
I never could. I've tried a couple of the series. I tried the original OVAs. Didn't really do much for me. I tried Universe.
True.
When it was airing on Toonami. Again, that's maybe not the best way to see it, but
it's
that's
okay.
what I saw.
Yo, shout out to Ed. He says my favorite line from Tenchi's dad when they're at the hot springs and the women are on the other side of the fence, and his dad suggests that they go peeping, and he says, "Son, in moments like this, you have to know what to do. You have to go peeping." It's the way he says it. It's hilarious. But yeah, fantastic show. Harem shows are not my steez for the most part, but Tenchi was like my first, so I always give it credit. And El Hazard was probably my second. So yeah, good times. Good times.
All right, next on our list is the TV special Lupin the Third: The Pursuit of Harimao's Treasure, which I assume nobody on this podcast has seen,
Nope.
but Yahtzee would probably have something to say about.
He probably would.
Yeah.
That's why I put it on there, just to give it a mention. Most of the stuff on here is just to mention. Or you can skip past a lot of the stuff, but the stuff I bolded, I know we're definitely talking about. So, if anything, I can't say much about Lupin.
He says it's all right.
There you go.
Seems a pretty common refrain
Thanks, man.
from what I see about a lot of these Lupin TV specials. It's all right.
It's all right. Yeah,
It's all right.
it's all right.
So, moving over to the West, our next series is Star Trek Voyager,
Hell yeah.
which is the series that literally launched UPN.
Sure did.
It was the 4th live-action Star Trek series, airing concurrently with DS9 for most of its run and then by itself for its last 2 seasons. And this was a story of a Federation starship lost 80,000 light years from home in the Delta Quadrant, and you had a Starfleet crew, and you had a crew of the Rebel MAHQ who were forced to work together as one crew to try to get home, although that dynamic is pretty much dropped after the first season and just becomes a generic sort of like Star Trek show in that respect, with ideas that feel in some cases like they're just rejects from Next Generation. That does sound pretty harsh. Altogether, it was a solid show with its ups and downs, just like any Star Trek series. Of course, famous for featuring 7 of 9 as a ratings booster when they brought her in on the 4th season, and the show pretty much from that point became the Janeway 7 of 9 show, and everybody else kind of got the short shrift.
Oh shit.
Until Chakotay, for some reason, ended up.
We don't talk about that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Voyager had a pretty long tail. It's been very popular over the years, and we had in the 90s documented Janeway effect and Scully effect of these two very important female characters being role models for young girls to pursue careers in the sciences and
Politics too.
In politics, yeah, and that continues today. And Voyager kind of got a second life in the last few years with Star Trek Prodigy, the sadly departed animated series that was brilliant, and also basically Voyager 2.
Yeah.
So, any other comments on Voyager?
I sadly have not finished this show, but I watched all the way up to like the middle of season 4. I do need to jump back on it. I enjoyed it for what it was, and you're right. It kicked off UPN way back in the day, man. I can't believe it's been 30 years since UPN, man. I used to watch what's that show? Tekka Man Blade on there, man. Holy shit! But
they had that on there.
Yeah, Tekka Man. They call it Techno.
Yeah, UPN Kids.
Techno
Man.
And, okay, there we go. I do remember Techno Man.
Yeah, they showed it on there as that, and but yeah,
Voyager, I should note, was the only show of the debut season of UPN to survive.
Oh wow, man, the Homeboys in Space didn't make it. No,
that was later.
Oh, that was right. Oh my god. But yeah, it's a fantastic show from what I remember seeing. I'll always be tripped out by one of the earliest episodes where Harry Kim ended up getting sucked out of the ship, and then it turned out there was like another parallel Voyager that Harry Kim from that ship at the end of the episode ended up going to our Voyager at the end of the episode, replacing the one that died. So it's always a mind fuck to me. And only to be worsened by Lower Decks later when you find out that Harry Kim's come a dime a dozen. So it's just crazy. But I thought it had a cool crew of characters. I recently watched the pilot over again with my wife the other day when she came back from the Star Trek cruise. She had saw Kate Mulgrew on the ship, and she just wanted to watch the first episode again. So we sat and watched that again for maybe the first time I've seen it in 30 years. So it was cool to revisit the show, and I need to continue watching it. But it's a cool series, man. I remember now that it was only 6 months or so between the end of Next Gen and the start of this show. So we were without having two Trek shows on the air at once at one time. And my favorite thing about this show and Deep Space Nine is that I grew up watching a sitcom called Benson. And in that show, you had Rene Auberjonois playing Clayton, and you had Ethan, was it Ethan Phillips? He played one of the governor's assistants, and it was cool seeing two actors from a sitcom I watched end up on two different Star Trek shows. I remember listening to I want to say it was Robert Picardo talking about when they were filming their show. That they would also intermingle with the Deep Space Nine cast every once in a while, and they talked about Rene Auberjonois and whatnot. So it was just a nice bit of connective tissue to see between the two shows. So yeah, that's as much as I have to say about Voyager at this time. But yeah, good stuff.
Pedro, anything about Voyager?
Yeah, I remember Voyager watching it live while it was going on. So I was about like 10 years old when it started, and I watched every episode of it, and I definitely remember feeling that versus something like DS9, it definitely felt more like normal Star Trek. I really felt like the standard, like, oh, okay, it's clear that DS9 is doing something very different. And I think it's one of those things where if it were the only version that I was watching at the time, I think it would be better in my mind. But because it had a show that I liked much, much better kind of going on, it sort of maybe doesn't have the best memory in my mind. I'm probably harsher on it than I would normally be if it had just been like, yeah, like I said, like, oh, there's no Trek on. Okay, that's great. This is the only one I can get.
It holds up better than
choice.
you would probably expect, but like I said, like any Trek show of this era, it has its ups and downs, and the 7th season's kind of a slog. So
yeah,
that they kind of run out of gas by the end. And of course, just infamously bad series finale. Second only to Enterprise's abominable finale. These Are the Voyages, which still goes down in history as the worst Star Trek series finale. And no, I'm not going to count Turnabout Intruder from the original series because that was just the last episode that aired because it was canceled, but it was not a series finale, even though that is an abysmally bad episode too.
It's pretty bad.
Next up, 2 syndicated shows, Hercules, The Legendary Journeys, starring Kevin Disappointed Sorbo,
Oh, he
the
disappointed
shithead,
me.
and Xena, Warrior Princess, starring Lucy Lawless. I caught a few minutes of either of these shows, maybe, but they weren't really my thing. Like, they are heavy on the cheese factor, and I was not into the cheese at the time, so I never really watched either of these shows. So I don't have anything more to say about either of them than that. But do you all have anything to say about either show?
I used to watch them. It would come on. It's kind of shocking to see how quickly Xena got spun off of Hercules after season 1 started for Hercules. But Xena was my preference of the 2 shows. But I used to watch Hercules too because Bruce Campbell would show up in both of those shows as a reoccurring character between both of them. So it was always cool to see him pop up in those series. Of course, that's because both series were produced by the Raimi family. So it big ties into their acting pool because of that. But a lot of actors got their start because of these franchises. I know Young Hercules starred a young Ryan. What's his last name? Ryan Gosling played Young Hercules, which was a spinoff.
Oh, really?
Of Hercules. Yeah. It lasted only a few episodes, but yeah, Young Hercules. If you look up that intro, you're gonna get a good laugh. But yeah, Ryan Gosling played Young Hercules. He was probably fresh off the Mickey Mouse Club when he did that. But yeah, Lucy Lawless's Xena Warrior Princess was fantastic. She started off as a villain on Hercules, but then again, kind of had eventually had a turnabout.
Too hot.
Yes.
Must have own show.
Must have own show, but she came to the good side and ended up pairing up with a young girl and they traveled the countryside solving mysteries and taking on monsters. So out of the two, I would say Xena was the better of the two and had better lead actor. But
Yeah.
other than that, not much to say. It's definitely a cheesy '90s action show, and there was a ton of them back then. But it was fun for what it was.
Yeah, I definitely remember this being one of those that like, there's nothing else that's on. Oh, Xena's on.
Yes.
Yeah, why not? And just watch it. It's good.
These were the times where you didn't have all you had was videotapes of shit you already recorded, whatever you could rent from the video store, and whatever was on broadcast TV or on cable. And sometimes there'd be lulls where nothing was on. So you kind of like schedule the shows you like to watch. At least you make a mental note of what came on when and watch those shits. And this is one of those shows that would come on the weekends on syndication that I would just go to my way to catch sometimes if I was at home. So yeah, it was.
Yeah, this is a show that I can't imagine airing live. Like this has always been in syndication for me. Like I remember watching like early Simpsons, right? Like,
Right.
but there's an entire generation of people that are like, oh no, that's a syndication show. That's how I kind of feel about Xena. Even though, like, I guess I was contemporary with it, but just never saw it live.
Exactly. And Yazi, you're right. Bruce Campbell Bruce Campbell had a different series called The King of Thieves, I want to say, but he did play a thief that would reoccur in both shows. You're not wrong. He eventually would the Raimis would actually give him his own spin-off show that took place in a different time period, where he played like a master thief or something like that. And I want to say it was called King of Thieves. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, it was the same production team that did that show too. But back to you.
All right, next on our list is Sliders. Oh, now this one.
Hell yeah.
Oh man, what a mess of a show. To say the least. This is a sci-fi series co-created by Tracy Torme, who was a writer on shows like Star Trek: Next Generation, and it initially aired on Fox for its first 3 seasons, and then it was canceled and picked up on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yep.
And actually, it was canceled twice by Fox because they canceled it after the first season, and then they brought it back for 2 more seasons without Tracy Torme, canceled it again. And the concept was that the lead character, Quinn Mallory, played by Jerry O'Connell, invents this device that allows him to slide to parallel universes, and his girlfriend, a random dude, and his college professor, played by John Rhys Davies, all get sucked along for the ride. The problem with their remote control gadget that opens the slide portals is that they cannot figure out which is their original universe, and he comes up with the very stupid idea of I'll check if my front gate is creaky because it's been creaky for years. And, at the end of the pilot, by complete coincidence, his mom has somebody squeeze some WD-40 onto that fence, and guess what? They come back to their original universe. And they end up leaving it because the fence doesn't squeak.
Oh, shit.
That is such a fuck you. That is such a fuck you.
It's so messed up.
Oh man, that's bad.
Yes, so they have all sorts of misadventures on a bunch of different parallel worlds. Some of them are kind of standard parallel concepts, like, what would America be like if the British had won the Revolutionary War? So we see stuff like that. But as the show came back without Tracy Torme, and Fox made all sorts of demands to do different types of stories to juice the ratings, it became a very stupid series of how can we rip off like concepts of things that are popular right now, like, hey, what if there was a world with dinosaurs because Jurassic Park?
Right.
Hey, what if there was a San Francisco with lots of tornadoes because Twister?
Wow.
We need to have some more sex appeal, so let's replace John Rhys Davies with a literal Cinemax actress who appeared in many Cinemax movies. Ask me how I know.
Which
and
actress?
The show
just so I can check the IMDb.
You can figure it out. You can do your own research, quote unquote research. Um,
Yeah.
and it just became an abysmally bad show in its third season. It was just terrible. It got canceled. Sci-Fi resurrected it, and it was one of their earliest attempts at doing original TV. So the budget was very low, but the writing was a lot better on season 4. It was really trying to get back to the concepts of beginning of the series and explore um, an enemy race, the Cro-Mags, who were multiversal Cro-Magnons who evolved a very high level of technology. And as they explored the multiverse, they were horrified to discover that their universe was literally the only one where Cro-Magnons evolved into the dominant life form, and that the entire rest of the multiverse was humans. So, in their rage, they began to conquer the multiverse so they could spread their empire and dominate the humans.
Wow. Holy shit. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
see any of it.
great
Yeah.
concept. But by then it was, a little too late in terms of the show's popularity. Jerry O'Connell left finally by the end of the series. Only one character from the original cast was left, and I never even saw that last season. So, um, couldn't tell you how it ended, but yeah, it was a mess of a show. It was a good concept. Another example of a sci-fi show ruined by Fox.
Yeah. And they had a
Seems
lot
to
of
be their MO.
they love to get these complicated concepts for series and then just cancel them within like the first breath. It frustrated me so much about Fox back in the day. And also I meant to watch it before we actually talked about it today, but what's it called? Secret Galaxy is a channel on YouTube. They recently just dropped a whole behind the scenes or a whole documentary episode about Sliders. So if you guys want to learn more about the series, you can check that out. That's up in their channel right now. But I liked this series when it first started. I think I watched it all the way up to season 3. I only saw it when it was initially airing, but I didn't see any of the sci-fi episodes, unfortunately. So I missed all of that. But yeah, from looking at the wiki here, it looks like the actor that stayed through the entire way was the one that played Rembrandt Brown, the singer.
Rembrandt.
Yeah, Cleveland
Yep.
Derricks, man, which is cool. I always enjoyed his character because he seemed like the oddball in the group for being there. So he was a cool character back when the show was cooking. But yeah, I always wanted to get caught up on this show, and there was always talks about bringing it back as a movie or something, but I never believed that was going to happen. So unfortunately, it never came back. Not even rebooted, it's a simple concept to do. You figure that someone would have taken this concept and done a reboot for it, but you never know what the future could bring.
It's kind of a tired concept now. Like we're drowning
Yeah.
in multiverses with the
True.
MCU, so
Yeah.
it would be kind of hard for something like this to stand out.
If you want a good one season version of that, watch Dark Matter.
There you go.
Yes, Dark Matter is incredible. It's on Apple TV. Go watch it, if only just to stare at Jennifer Connelly, because she's Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah, a lot of good Jennifer Connelly.
Moving on, we have a pair of animated series on MTV that are both comic book themed. One is The Max, which is a comic adaptation, and then the other is Aeon Flux, the cyberpunk classic by Peter Chung. So, I watched both of these shows. I enjoyed them. Aeon Flux was just incredibly weird, and it was a lot of fun. It coincided with like my early exploration of anime, and was definitely anime influenced and anime adjacent. And I never saw the awful live action movie, so that probably was for the better.
Probably.
Yeah, no, don't. It was awful.
I saw it, and I will attest that it is terrible. So,
Yeah, it's
so bad.
It's pretty bad.
But yeah, as for the TV show, I watched. I was like many people introduced to Aeon Flux, and I don't remember if the Max was on Liquid Television, but Aeon Flux definitely was on Liquid Television, which is an anthology series for animated shorts that MTV would have on, and then eventually they greenlit an Aeon Flux TV show, which I saw episodes here and there. I never got to watch it consistently, sadly, but I was impressed with what I saw. The designs were very unique, and the world had this a standout look that caught your eye every time you watched the show. The intro would always get me where um, the the um, the main character's eye would be there'd be a close up on her eye, and her eyelashes would catch a fly in it, which you guys can see that right there in the image right there. It was always off putting, but at the same time cool. So and that
Yeah,
sums the show up. To me anyway. But what were we gonna say?
Yeah, Aeon Flux was definitely the show that felt very transgressive, especially as a kid. Like
Yeah.
again, 95, I'm 10 years old. Like I really felt like, oh, I shouldn't be watching this. Like even then I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this is fucked up. Like, oh man, like I felt like I was getting away with something watching it, and that always left a real big impression for me. And I think that's definitely one of the early instances of me noticing like, oh, this is inspired by Japanese cartoons.
Absolutely.
I think by that point, I don't know if I had seen Sailor Moon yet. By then, I think I had seen Sailor Moon on like at 5 o'clock in the morning before school before. So that's one where I think that was the first time I clocked like, oh, that is a Japanese cartoon,
Really?
and then this was oh shit, this is where it could go. Like you could do shit with it. Like it's not just the girls hanging out and beating ass. Like no, you could have weird spy sex between a gate and then pass fucking notes with each other in your mouth, like with a tongue, like just really twisted stuff for a 10-year-old to watch.
Yeah, I was a little bit older at the time, but yeah, it even was surreal for me as well. And yeah, you're right. 95, even though I didn't put them on the list, 95 was the year that Sailor Moon first aired on syndication here, and at odd times in the morning. It used to come on where I lived at like 6 in the morning, so I wasn't too far off.
Yep. Now I would basically I would I would be awake by like 5:45. I'd be eating breakfast asleep on the couch, and then this would play. So a lot of that first run, I don't have very good memories of because a lot of it was just like kind of falling in and out of sleep while waiting to go to school.
Absolutely. The Max I never watched. Just to say my piece about that. I would catch a commercial every once in a while, but never got the chance to see the show, so I can't speak much on that.
Yeah, I didn't see much of it either.
Next up, we have, speaking of sci-fi shows fucked up by Fox, we have Space Above and Beyond, a military sci-fi series created by Glenn Morgan and James Wong, who were two writers on the X-Files. The show only lasted one season. Well regarded, but I never saw it at all.
I never saw it either, so I can't speak on it.
Nope. Yep.
And I'm going to speed run through the rest of the TV category so we
for
can
it.
move on. We also have in 1995 The Drew Carey Show, The Outer Limits, a reboot of the classic series, The Wayans Brothers,
Hell yeah.
Unhappily Ever After, Pinky and the Brain,
Yep.
the Animaniacs spinoff, Freakazoid, Nowhere Man, which I do want to stop and talk for a second. This was
I love this show.
I adore the show. This is a UPN series that aired during the second season of Voyager on Monday nights. So the two of them aired back to back. This was a show starring Bruce Greenwood, fantastic actor.
Yep.
And he plays a photojournalist who got pictures of some shady executions going on in another part of the world. And when he comes back to America, he finds that his entire life has been erased and shadowy government agents are pursuing him, and he is trying to, uncover the secrets of why he's being targeted and get his life back. I love this show up until the series finale had like kind of a twist that just seemed like some bullshit they did because the show got canceled.
Yeah.
And, it kind of faded away, but it definitely put Bruce Greenwood on the map for me as someone to watch for, and it was a really fun show while it lasted.
Yeah, same here. I was watching the show along with Voyager every Monday night, every time it aired basically, and I was hooked. It was one of these shows with a mystery hook. It felt like The Fugitive to me, but kind of inverted. Well, he was still on the run, but nobody knew who he was because his whole identity was wiped out from other people's memories, or people were putting on that he no longer was a person that existed in their lives. So he's trying to beat this conspiracy, and you were gripped week to week. And this is the first time I ever saw Bruce Greenwood in anything either. So it was nice seeing him years down the road as Captain Pike in Star Trek '09. But he's popped up here and there in other shows and always put in work, and I've always appreciated him as an actor. But this was definitely my first exposure to him, and it was my first time seeing a show like this in real time. But there'd be other shows with mystery backdrops later on, like Lost and whatnot, that I think pulled from this show when it came to tone and whatnot. And I've been wanting to watch this again. I've never seen it rerun, but maybe it's been on Sci-Fi or something. I've just never caught it anywhere else since its original airing. But that's
really good show.
Yeah, it was fantastic for what it was. A good gripping season of TV on network TV, which was usually more routine than having an actual serial play out on television. And this show was a serial. It'd go from episode to episode, a serialized drama basically. So good stuff.
All right, and to round out the TV category, we have Mr. Show with Bob and David, Mad TV, and the American Street Fighter, the animated series, which the less said about that, the better.
Oh, tell me about it. The show was awful. It spawned a lot of memes, though. But go ahead, sorry.
This definitely spawned the memes, especially the one with Bison.
Yes.
But, you all know the meme we're talking about.
Yes!
Moving on to the movies category, starting out strong, Ghost in the Shell. Yes, the original Ghost in the Shell movie, directed by Mamoru Oshii, that was co-funded by Manga Entertainment, and was an inescapable thing in the 90s. It was literally everywhere, and kind of like Evangelion, it's something that is still relevant all these years later and still has a fandom, and we're getting yet another animated adaptation in 2026, this time hewing closer to the original manga by Masamune Shirow. So yeah, iconic movie, deeply influential, big old cyberpunk vibes, and a huge inspiration to the Wachowskis in making The Matrix, which is just apparent from watching any of The Matrix, and hugely influential on many other people, both in the East and the West.
Yeah, and I mean, there are very few shows or movies that are so effortlessly cool and so effortlessly embody what is great about a subgenre. And yeah, like I can still rewatch this and still, it's still immensely entertaining. It's still fucking gorgeous. It's such a beautiful movie, and the 4K version, like really, like it looks so nice.
It does. One of the things I love about Ghost in the Shell, but also all of the movies directed by Mamoru Oshii, is these establishing shots that he does of just showing like mundane city life set to a fantastic score by Kenji Kawai. Like it really breathes life into his movies. And if you've seen Ghost in the Shell, if you've seen either of his Patlabor movies, you know exactly what I'm talking about with those scenes of showing just urban life that it's not something you would typically see in anime, because you're animating very just mundane kind of things. This is something very filmic that he made the choice to want to have animated.
I think about that scene, like I think it's before the Major chases the hacker across the water, where she and I think about I think it's like a parade or something is going by, and it's just like about like I think it's almost like a full minute or 90 seconds of just showing what that city looks like. And it's just like you think about the amount of effort that went in for each one of those cells, right? Like so much of that detail had to be drawn, and it's like he's like, no, I'm gonna make you sit and I'm going to make you feel what it's like for these people to walk through these streets in the middle of like, you know, a parade or something like that, and it does a really good job of putting you there more than a lot of other directors kind of do in their own works.
Yeah, I know for me, watching this movie, it's for me, it's some of the best representation of the cyberpunk genre on screen. I remember the first time I ever saw any of this movie was watching Siskel and Ebert back in 1995 when they reviewed it. And it's like, oh, this is in theaters? I need to go see it. I missed it in theaters, but I saw it on videotape not too far after that. And I was enamored with what I watched, just from the quality of animation to the ambiance of the city itself. It's so lived in. Like that's the thing about Mamoru Oshii, is that he just knows how to depict a fictional world, but you feel that it's texturally real. And watching this movie and just seeing how the characters are represented, and watching it unfold. Like, I didn't get everything about the film the first time I watched it, but it did lead me into reading the manga by Masamune Shirow. About a year later, my friend was collecting them, so I'd borrow them from him. I think Dark Horse is bringing the mangas out here, and I ate them up because I watched this movie back when it came out. And yeah, it's an experience when you watch it for the first time. I've missed it every time it's been in theaters, but the next time it's in theaters, I will go see it. I've been wanting to see this on a big screen ever since it came out. But fantastic movie, man. I've done that to myself.
I've never seen the original in theaters, but I saw Innocence when it came out, and I saw it again for the 20th anniversary release last year.
It hurts to know that we've lost both Akio Otsuka, who's the voice of
Bato.
Bato, and I believe Atsuko Tanaka passed away not too long ago too. The voice of the Major. So yeah, it's a little sad, but you can always revisit this movie and see their characters in these films and enjoy them for what they were, man. And it's a fantastic film, man.
I think you're thinking of somebody else and not Akio Otsuka, because he's alive.
Akio Otsuka? Yeah, you might be. I was thinking the voice of. Oh, okay. I was thinking of the voice of Solid Snake. That's on me. I'm getting my wires crossed. My apologies. You're
Isn't
right.
that Bato?
Yeah.
He is Solid Snake.
He is. Gosh. Okay, I'm thinking of somebody else.
Are you thinking of Unsho Ishizuka, who played Sergei Smirnoff in 00?
And Jet Black.
Has a very similar kind of voice.
Yes, he's also Jet Black in Cowboy Bebop as well. Yeah, I'm thinking of him. He was also the voice of Joseph Joestar, the older version, in Stardust Crusaders too. So
yeah,
that's what
I was like. Wait a
of.
second, I don't recall hearing that Akio Otsuka was dead. And
thank God. Okay, well, he's alive, guys. I'm sorry.
Another Sobro correction.
Another Sobro. Thank you for catching that. Please, that's good shit. I'm happy to. I'm happy to hear he's still walking amongst us, man. Good shit, Akio. I'll see you in the next game, buddy.
Well, speaking of Joe, he also was the voice of. Hold on, right here. I need to make sure I don't get myself wrong.
Don't do it.
He also was the voice of Gold Goa Bowman in our next title, Macross Plus Movie Edition, which was released on a double bill with the short Macross 7 movie, The Galaxy's Calling Me. So obviously we've talked about Macross Plus on Gundam. This is the movie edit that cuts out a lot of stuff and adds some new scenes, reorders things around, and in my opinion has a better ending and is the better version of the story.
Yeah, I mean, this is my favorite piece of Macross. Like, specifically this movie. This movie is, I fucking love it. I got a chance to see this at last year, where Kawamori was there to talk about it as part of the anniversary. And let me tell you, I've seen that movie a bunch of times, but actually getting a chance to watch it in a theater was pretty fucking cool, man. I gotta say,
Yes.
like all the nerd shit that I've done, like that was pretty rad. And like the interview afterward that he had was fairly standard stuff. Just very. They weren't taking any questions. It was kind of led by somebody who was a Macross fan and was like, knew what they were asking. But I gotta say, I mean, just getting a chance to see it in a room full of nerds was pretty rad.
And I watched this version years ago, but it's gorgeous. I can definitely say that much. It's Watanabe also worked on this as well, so it's anything that he works on, I'm there to see it. But yeah, it's the finale of this movie has always gripped me. Just the way it's been, the way it plays out, and with Isamu's fight against Sharon Apple, it's the craziest shit ever. But in the movie, they found ways to improve it, man. It's a fantastic watch, especially if you've never seen Macross before, any Macross at all. I always tell people, check out Macross Plus. Yeah, you may not understand it fully, but just think of it as anime Top Gun and go from there.
Yeah, that's what I use to describe it. A mutual friend of ours, with Chris and I both know, like she had never seen any Macross before, and like I was just in the mood to watch it, and so I basically said anime Top Gun. She was like, okay, that got me in the door. And then by the time she was done, she was like, I think I kind of want to see more Macross.
Yeah.
She was like, I want to go a little deeper.
Well, head on over to Disney Plus.
Yeah. That's
and
a
also
weird thing.
all-time banger soundtrack by Yoko Kanno.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. Still gets frequent listens.
Yep. And as I mentioned, aired on a double billing in Japan, releasing a double billing with Macross 7, The Galaxy's Calling Me. Very short, kind of slight, self-contained Macross 7 story that's just episode length, so calling it a movie is kind of a misnomer, except that it does have better animation than the TV show.
Mhm.
Go check that out on Disney Plus as well,
Hell
which is
yeah.
also a weird thing to say.
It's so wild.
Watch this obscure fucking, not even, I guess you could call it an OVA. Like movie OVA. Yeah.
On Disney Plus.
On Disney.
On Disney Plus.
Of all places, I would have never guessed 10 years ago. Holy shit.
I also never would have guessed that fucking Jeff has my Gundam.
Yes,
Yo,
that
Jeff.
son of a bitch.
Fucking awful.
Next
Oh,
on our
my
list
Gundam.
is Memories, an anthology movie of 3 very nicely animated shorts produced by Katsuhiro Otomo. Just to get through this one kind of quickly, everybody knows that the best and well-known of these 3 shorts is Magnetic Rose, which could almost be a movie unto itself.
Yeah.
Anybody have anything to say about Memories?
We reviewed it for the show like years ago. I want to say in the early days of Gundam, actually. I remember
probably.
We did. It's beautifully animated. Magnetic Rose is the one that stands out to me. But Stink Bomb was also a lot of fun as well.
It is fun, yes.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that's just a visual delight to watch. It's the animation quality is on the level of Akira or Ghost in the Shell from '95 as well. It's amazing that both these movies came out the same year. This movie kind of sits in the shadow of Ghost in the Shell, unfortunately. Not many people call upon Memories as they do Jits, but it's still worth your time, and you should definitely check it out, especially since it's an anthology like Robot Carnival. It's kind of like that in a sense, but fun times.
Yeah, and just to add to it, Magnetic Rose, it's such a well-made and very haunting story, due in no small part to having been written by Satoshi Kon.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Gone too
R.I.P..
soon. Yeah, gone too soon for certain.
Pedro, anything about Memories?
I mean, not really. Like, I haven't seen this. I'm trying to remember. I watched it with some old college friends, and I don't really have the only thing that I remember really was Magnetic Rose, and only because that it's very clearly a Satoshi Kon joint. Like that is, that is definitely the standout of the 3.
Yeah, well, go check it out. If you haven't seen it, it has been license rescued. It is available on Blu-ray. I think it's from Discotek or maybe
Hell yeah.
Sentai. I don't know. It's on my shelf, but I can't see it from where I'm sitting. Next on our list is Whisper of the Heart. This is a Studio Ghibli movie, so you can hear Pedro and I talking about it more on our Ghibli episode of Chaos Theater. Kind of a middle of the road Ghibli movie, not directed by the big guns, so it's not Suzuki or Miyazaki. Nicely animated, but not a huge standout. Notable mostly, I think, for inspiring loosely the spin-off The Cat Returns.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which I like more.
And that's about it. That's all I got to say about it.
I've seen
Also,
it.
you know, the
Mhm.
Japanese version of Country Roads, which is kind of weird to hear.
That's so crazy. I've seen The Cat Returns. I've never seen Whisper of the Heart. I need to I need to correct that. I really do. Man, that's so wild. I didn't realize they were connected. Good shit though. I will make that. Look at him. He's right there on the poster. Who
It's
knew?
worth watching. It's not bad.
Good
Not
stuff.
It's
bad.
not
Yeah.
amazing, but it's fine.
I'll watch them back to back. Then I'll sit down with my wife. She's seen all the Ghibli movies, but I have there's a few in the roster I have not seen. So I think we'll watch both of those back to back just to have the complete experience. Good stuff.
So we have two DBZ movies, Fusion Reborn and Wrath of the Dragon. I don't have anything to say about either of these, so do you want to opine, Solbro?
No, not really. I saw this back when it came out, and it's the Dragon Ball Z movie.
I mean, I put these on here specifically because like these two movies were what I was printing out and putting on my notebooks. Like just in terms of like the designs and later on when I was in high school
Hell yeah.
and going back and watching all of DBZ, because I mean at that point like torrents weren't available yet, but you know there were other file sharing networks. I was able to get everything, and I just devoured this shit up. And even in the most awful real player quality VHS rip, the animation specifically for Fusion Reborn was so much better than the show, and it really was like really made me wish I had even back then like. I wasn't as much of like a quality snob. I was like, I really wish like I could see this in better quality because it looked so fucking smooth. The designs were like really awesome. And Fusion Reborn is a fun movie. It's a lot of fun. Has a fun dumb villain.
Janemba.
You know,
that's
again,
right.
yep,
Ooh,
Janemba.
Annoying as Janemba. Fuck.
It was annoying, but also like it was the one where I felt like the animators were having fun.
Yeah.
More than a lot of the other films. And Wrath of the Dragon, pretty shit movie, but also, you know, had Goku doing that fucking sweet dragon punch, which, let me tell you, there were a lot of Hawaiian shirts sold on the back of that fucking clip at the very end of that movie.
That's maybe the only thing I remember from that film. Unless that's the one with the the guy who gave Trunks his sword. I don't think that's it. That's it?
Yeah.
Okay, then I remember that as well. But
those are the only two things that movie had of memory.
The significance of Wrath of the Dragon is it would be the last DBC film until 2013, which that's the one with Beerus that came out then, and that movie's cool. I enjoyed that movie a lot. But yeah, Wrath of the Dragon, I saw them so far back in the day. I should revisit them, but yeah, I don't
just watch Fusion Reborn. You're good. You're good on skipping out on Wrath. Just watch Fusion Reborn. The best part about Wrath of the Dragon, it's only like an hour long, so it's pretty short.
Damn, people just went to the theaters and saw a movie that was less than an hour. That's cool. Yo, Dragon Ball. Zoe.
Prince money.
Oh man. But yeah, nothing much
Right,
else.
I'm gonna have to skip
Yeah, go for it. Yeah,
a lot of things on here just for if there's something you're really passionate about speaking to as I'm skipping it, then just stop me. Otherwise, you're gonna jump around. So Highlander: The Final Dimension, shit movie. Really cheap retread of the original Highlander movie, which is way better, and one that is too obsessed with the then new morphing effects pioneered by T2 a few years earlier.
Right.
Avoid this movie; it sucks.
Yo, shit.
12 Monkeys, great mindfuck movie by Terry Gilliam, starring Bruce Willis. Terry Gilliam movies are always a good ride. Anybody want to say anything else about 12 Monkeys?
Fantastic film. Brad Pitt has the performance of the film. He's an absolute
Yes.
nut in it. But it's a mind fuck. When you watch it, it deals with time travel and several other things. And it's one of Terry Gilliam's best films as far as I'm concerned. I have fond memories of watching it. It's good stuff. I've never seen the TV show, but I hear it's good as well.
I watched this movie rented from Blockbuster with my mom. I must have been 12 or 13 years old. And it was definitely one of those early movies where I was just like, oh, movies don't always have to end happily.
No.
You can have bad endings or something. And I remember finishing and I'm like, that's the ending? And I was just like, wow, okay. I didn't know you can do that.
It just prepares you for life.
Yeah.
Next, we have Johnny Mnemonic, which is a shit movie, cyberpunk story starring Keanu Reeves and adapted from a short story by William Gibson, who was the father of cyberpunk.
Yep.
Literally coined that term. You wouldn't know it from watching this movie because it's bad. There is apparently a Japanese cut with more footage, and it's in black and white that some people say is better. I don't know. It's not a great movie. Interesting concept, but just poorly done.
Yeah.
Another shit movie, Judge Dredd, which
so
is campy fun, and that I will always think of primarily for you betrayed the law.
Yes!
Yeah.
Up
Holy
next,
shit.
Species, movie horror movie. You know, that's about all I'm going to say about that. Waterworld, shit movie with Kevin Costner, one of many shit movies that he's in, and that at the time was the most expensive movie ever made, and
Oof, that's
really should
right.
not have ever been made.
Oh, so bad.
Virtuosity, also a
Yes.
shit movie, starring Denzel Washington and Russell Crowe.
Boy.
Most notable for being the West's first exposure to Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
Of course, would go on to become a star in his own right, but this movie sucks.
I love this movie. I know it's bad, but it's the right kind of bad. I can sit down and watch this and crack on it all day. My favorite shit in the movie is at the end when he kills when Denzel kills Russell Crowe. Before he does, he says, "Game over." It's just the way he says it, though. It's brilliant. But the movie's awful. But it's the first time they paired up in anything. And they wouldn't pair up again until American Gangster. So, and people were saying, "Oh, this is the first time they're working together." It's like, fuck you. Go watch Virtuosity.
No. Don't forget.
Don't watch Virtuosity.
There is no virtuosity erasure in this house.
Yeah, will not have it. I will not have it. But that's all I got to say.
Somebody bolded In the Mouth of Madness, so who wants to speak to that?
Oh,
That would be me. I discovered this movie recently. Going through John. Yeah, and going through John Carpenter's movies, going through that Apocalypse trilogy. This was it's 90s John Carpenter, so it doesn't have quite the same like kind of style to it. It's a little more swoopy, a little more how would I put it? More Evil Dead, with more kind of active camera. But it still has just this very, very strange feel. It's one of the more interesting kind of Lovecraftian takes where they really play with your head with the story. And, you know, it's still John Carpenter, who doesn't take itself 100% seriously, but it's got some real good Sam Neill in it. It's got some real good dumb shit, like on top of it being like some legitimate spooky stuff. Also, some real dumb shit too. It's a lot of fun. I definitely, if you like Lovecraft shit, that's a very good one to enjoy.
All right, next up we have Toy Story, which of course is iconic. It's the first feature-length CG animated movie. It's Pixar's debut movie. Pedro and I talked about it in Chaos Theater long ago in a Pixar-themed episode. So, you know, not much to really say about the story because we all know it. And, you know, I think the concept holds up well. later, some of that animation's not
Yeah.
great, especially any of the stuff with humans. Like
Oh
anytime you see
boy.
Sid, it's just like, ooh, this is bad.
It's so bad.
Yeah, it's old. It's
But-
real fucking old.
It was cutting edge at the time, though. That's the thing about
It was.
Pixar movies is that they look great in the moment, but they show their age, and it makes me wonder if they'll ever go back and remaster some of these movies by re-rendering some of them. Maybe that's not the thing to do because you're kind of robbing the charm of what they look like back in the day. But I think they could go back and remaster some of their classics, especially the Toy Story trilogy. I think is worth the cost to do that, especially with the new techniques they have. But it's still a charming film, and the performances in it are fantastic. All right.
Right.
All right.
Next, I want to quickly mention Batman Forever, just to dunk on it.
Oh, yes, please.
R.I.P. Val Kilmer. And I know there are fans of this movie and people trying to rehabilitate this movie, but this is a shit movie. It's not good. I'm sorry.
It's
just,
not good.
It's not good. It's better than Batman and Robin, but that's aiming with faint praise.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
certainly.
I do have a place in my heart for this movie, but it is next to all of liking bad and camp movies. It's not a good movie.
I agree. I do like this more than Batman. Batman Returns. But yeah, it's save for a few moments with Jim Carrey, which is definitely the center of the film for me. I can't really say much positive about this movie, but it is what it is. But that's all I have.
Next up, we have GoldenEye, which is the first 007 movie starring Pierce Brosnan, and the first in 7 years following the long gap after License to Kill. One movie, had a lot of people in it. Famke Johnson, that was her breakthrough movie role, and also had on Bean, and it was a good start for Pierce Brosnan. Not that his tenure as Bond was that great in terms of the quality of the scripts, but this was the most solid of the 4 movies that he did.
Sure was.
Yeah, for sure.
Because those other ones are awful.
Yeah.
I this is the only one that's watchable and enjoyable as far as I'm concerned. The rest of them are just. I saw some of them in the theater and I wanted my money back. So especially the last one he did, so bad. But
Yeah.
this one definitely is solid, and it would eventually spawn off to one of the greatest console first-person shooters of all time. I don't play those games, but I know a lot of my friends did at the time, and GoldenEye was on repeat when it came to Nintendo 64. So, but yeah, this movie's cool,
Yep.
and Sean Bean, was doing what he always does, man, dying. but dramatically, at least in this movie. But he played a cool
Yes.
villain. I will say that.
Oh yeah. Oh, he got it real bad.
Yeah,
He got real bad. Had a fucking satellite fall on top of him. That's
Woo!
like
That's pretty bad.
got him.
that's about as bad as it gets. I'll take
Yeah.
some arrows from orcs any day over having a fucking satellite fall on me.
Or get my
At
head
least
chopped
it's
off.
fast. Ugh.
Next up, we have Die Hard with a Vengeance. This
Hell
is the third Die Hard movie and the first of 2 Die Hard sequels that started off as completely separate scripts that were then turned into Die Hards. And it co-stars Samuel L. Jackson and Jeremy Irons. Great roles for both of them. It's a fun movie. I feel that this one loses a little bit from the first 2, which felt much more claustrophobic from the fact that John McClane was stuck somewhere and had limited resources and virtually no backup. And in this one, he's kind of running around the city all over the place.
Mhm.
So it's not a bad movie at all, and it's certainly better than the 2 sequels that follow. But I feel like some of the appeal from those first 2 movies was lost in this one.
Yeah, when comparing
Yeah.
it to the original, I can see where that comes from. I like the fact that this movie was different. You can definitely tell that this movie was a completely different film. Probably was a movie that, from what I remember reading, this was meant to be something else before they wedged it into the Die Hard franchise. But I like the fact that
Yeah, having the connection between Jeremy Irons and Alan Rickman definitely seems like the one shoehorned connection to turn this
Yeah.
into a Die Hard movie.
Exactly, but it was Bruce Willis's character, John McClane, in his element, which is what I appreciate. This he was actually him on the job in New York, where he's a cop. So and he's teamed up with it's a buddy cop situation at the same time. You got Samuel L. Jackson, and they were both in Pulp Fiction just about the year before. So it's cool to see them team back up again. I love this movie. I will watch it right after watching Die Hard 1. I usually skip 2. 2 is cool, but 2 is like more of the same to me. But 3, I love it because of the fact that it's different, but it's still John McClane in a bad situation. So I'll take it, and especially since it's in its backyard. But that's all I got.
Sam Jackson steals every scene in this movie that he's in. I especially love the exchange, and he's like, "Why are you calling me Jesus? I look Puerto Rican to you."
Yes.
or just the awkwardness of John McClane went out in Harlem wearing that sandwich board sign, and Sam Jackson trying to explain to him like, what the fuck are you out here doing, white boy?
You're gonna get shot for certain. But my favorite moment between the two of them was when they have to figure out the bomb with the jugs of water. Oh my god, that shit was had me on my toes. I just to have to figure that out, and the whole riddle aspect of the film too was great. But let me not go on too long. I love this movie, and it's one of my favorite action films.
So our next highlighted movie is a French film, The City of Lost Children. I've never seen this, so I have nothing to say about it.
Yeah, that's me again. So I first heard about this movie through a very terrible PlayStation game.
Yes,
it was an adventure game. Yeah. Awful controls. Looked, I mean, for the time, looked pretty good, but again, like just not a good moving of the movie onto the PlayStation. The movie itself is actually like really, really good. Mm-hmm. Has Ron Perlman in it, not knowing a single word of French,
wow.
And he plays basically like a mute strongman. So he doesn't really have to do much. A lot of it is good. It's actually a really good physical performance too. But it's like just imagine a French view of cyberpunk.
Oh,
and that's what you get. It's very interesting. It's sort of like I haven't really seen a lot like it since. It just has this like really unique view. Now, this is also the guy that did Alien Resurrection. So,
oh wow,
the guy doesn't bat 100 all the time, but this movie is a lot better than Alien Resurrection. So don't hold that against them. I would still recommend seeing it.
Man.
All right, who the fuck bolded Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls?
Oh, you serious? I love that movie. It's let me guess. You like the first one, but don't like this one?
I mean, they're both dumb movies, but yeah, I like the first one better.
Oh, I love this movie, dude. So
I love this movie too.
The Monopoly guy scene don't get you.
I'm just.
Dude,
this is a very dumb movie, but there's like the rhino scene by itself was worth the ticket of admission.
The movie is stupid, but Jim Carrey is the glue that holds that film together, and he is
him coming out of that rhino's ass.
I can't.
Is still just the height of maybe not the height of comedy, but it's a chuckle buster. Like it'll get a laugh out of me every time.
I can't take my eyes off this man the whole film. Like, and he's definitely fucking with Bob Gunton, who is the warden in the Shawshank Redemption, probably the year before, and now he plays the villain in this film. So seeing him in this movie opposite Jim Carrey was already a delight. But just to see him on the case here, and messing with the African tribe who just they fuck him up every chance they get. This movie to me is a well done sequel. I know some people who revile this film. They hate it, but for me, I think it's better than the first one. Personally, it's just my sense of humor, but I love part 2. It's fantastic, and yeah, that scene where he crawls out of the ass of the robotic rhino.
Fuck!
I can't.
Oh my God.
I lose my breath every time. It's stupid. But it's me. I'm sorry, Chris.
So dumb.
Don't mean to disgust you.
I love it.
Moving on. Yeah. I know who bolded Mallrats.
Yeah.
So this is
hell yeah.
Kevin Smith's second movie. Pedro and I talked about this on Chaos Theater. Kind of a mess in the theatrical version. So the director's cut is much improved. Yep. A flawed movie, but still a lot of fun. And the first of several collaborations between him and Ben Affleck. So interesting historically for that as well. What do you have to say, Pedro?
I mean, it's not my favorite of his movies, but I mean, I gotta call it out because it's still a lot. It's still a lot of fun. It's weird when you think about like so many of a lot of Kevin Smith's movies. He is trying to say something.
Yeah.
Right. This is one of them where he's not trying to fucking say anything.
Nope.
Like he is just being like, I'm just again like you mall rats. Like yeah, that's it. I think. Yeah, I just think that like he took a big chance in making this movie after making something that he put a lot of thought in, just that sophomore slump or just whatever expectations people thought that they had. Because I mean, if he had put out Chasing Amy after
Clerks,
I think he might have a different career.
I think so. Yeah.
Like if he goes Clerks, Chasing Amy, Dogma.
Yeah. That's a strong trilogy.
That's a strong trilogy, and I think that that would have been real fun. That would have been a very different career because then after that, I don't think you have Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and I really do love Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. It was watched a lot, and also on Comedy Central a lot.
Yeah,
actually, Mallrats 2 was on Comedy Central. All the fucking time.
All the fucking time. Let me tell you something about Mallrats, man. This is the Gen X film right here. So is Clerks, but Clerks is so bare bones when it comes to production that you appreciate it for what it accomplishes with so little. Mallrats is Kevin Smith's, I think, first real commercial film, and it's his second movie, right? So he got more of a budget. He was able to kind of do more than he wanted, but it's a hangout film, so it's not that aspirational. So this is the shit I would do at this time. Like I graduated in 1995. For those who want to know how fucking dusty I am. So 30 years ago, I graduated from high school. So this is the shit that we did, and we watched this movie all the time. So when it came down to it, yeah, I related to these cats at the time. These are my people speaking to me. It's the first movie I saw where it really delved into fandom too. Because you had Stan Lee, who made the epic appearance towards the end of the film, and had his moment, and it was just charming to see him on the screen opposite Brody Bruce. But yeah, just getting to know these characters and identifying your friends and who these characters are as well is part of the charm of the movie for me. The mall of choice for me here in Orlando was Fashion Square Mall. And I used to ride the bus up there all the time, and we'd hang out there and go to the arcade and visit comic book shops and all that shit. So this was my life, and I fucking love this movie. The director's cut is better, but I still enjoy the original version. It's not Kevin Smith's best film. I think Chasing Amy is probably his best movie, to be quite honest with you. But this is my favorite of all his movies, straight up and down. I love Mallrats, no question. So that's all.
Yeah, I'm more of a Dogma guy, but yeah, I like it.
R.I.P. Shannon Doherty.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Rest in peace for certain.
I want to give a quick mention to Crimson Tide. R.I.P. Gene Hackman, one of the best to ever do it.
Oh, we love
Crimson Tide, one of the best submarine movies, starring him, Denzel Washington, James Gandolfini. Great cast, a lot of tension. Just an all-time classic of the submarine genre. Going to skip on down to Usual Suspects, which definitely was a classic of the film noir genre. But in retrospect, man, I don't know how to feel about this movie when the two lead people, Kevin Spacey and Bryan Singer, are awful, sex creep pieces of shit.
Yeah, I guess you can love it.
Especially Bryan Singer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that goes into the waiting until they're dead to enjoy.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Once they're dead, it's fine. You're not making a cent off of this. You're in the grave. I can enjoy it at that point.
Move on to a less problematic film noir movie, and that is Devil in a Blue Dress. This is an incredible noir movie starring Denzel Washington early in his career as a leading man. And it's a really fascinating film noir because it is set in the 40s and he is a World War II veteran who gets pulled into being a private detective. But one of the things that makes this movie stand out the most is that because it's the 1940s, the character that he plays, Easy Rollins, has to navigate racism at each and every turn,
Boy, does he.
sometimes to his detriment.
Yeah, man. I adore this film. This is actually a favorite not only of mine, but also The Wonder. We talk about this movie all the time, and we get upset that they never really made any other Walter Mosley adaptations for the big screen. They may have done some on TV, and I didn't know about it. But watching Devil in the Blue Dress back in the day, and seeing Denzel's performance in that film, and just I have a love for
Don Cheadle.
I have a love for noir movies, and noir mysteries. But seeing Don Cheadle in this playing Mouse is like a force of nature in this film, and I think it might have been the first time I ever saw Don Cheadle in anything besides the Golden Palace sitcom. So seeing him in this show, this movie, and watching how he just he is so scary in this movie. And he is.
You don't want to fuck with him.
No.
Also, Jennifer Beals, great femme fatale.
Yes, yeah, and she was someone who could pass for being white, so that was part of the story in this movie. And it's a great movie. I always recommend this movie if you want to see a noir mystery film from that takes place in the 40s. With Denzel Washington, I highly recommend this movie. It's definitely the better of the Denzel movies. There's also Crimson Tide. So
yes.
Crimson knocked out some. I'm sorry, Denzel may have done Virtuosity, but don't hold that against him. He did 2 other dope ass movies this year.
Two out of 3.
He did 2 really good movies.
Absolutely.
2 classic movies, 1 shit movie. Devil in a Blue Dress. Very underrated movie. It's part of the Criterion Collection. Go buy that. It's really good. It's got a lot of good material on it. And I just lament also that we never got more Easy Rollins movies with him.
Hell yeah, man.
Seems like it's ripe for exploration in like a reboot or a limited series or whatever, since there's so many books to pull material from.
Exactly. I'm guessing this movie didn't probably do as well in the box office as they wanted.
No,
Although
it did not do very well.
We'd have probably gotten more, and it's a damn shame we didn't. I wish we did.
And yet, here's the thing, and makes me wonder about the racism aspect of it. Yeah. This movie, complete non-presence when it came out. So you figure, 40s noirs set in LA. There's no audience for that. What movie came out 2 years later that was the exact same kind of story?
LA motherfucking Confidential. So fucking
full of a bunch of white people that won a bunch of Oscars.
Yeah, right?
Including Russell Crowe. So,
He's back. Making up for Virtuosity.
What can we say about, this massive amount of praise and awards that were heaped upon LA Confidential, but Devil in a Blue Dress, a movie that is just as good, if not better.
Yeah.
Completely ignored.
Yeah, I feel it's better, but Devil in the Blue Dress, that to me is the better of the 2 films. I enjoy LA Confidential, but I've not watched it nearly as much as Devil in the Blue Dress.
And the last movie we're going to talk about is Strange Days, a movie that I've seen some parts of. I've never seen the whole thing. Stars Ralph Fiennes, was written, but not directed by James Cameron, and it was in fact directed, I believe, by Catherine Bigelow. So who wants to talk about this one?
I love this movie. Catherine Bigelow was James Cameron's wife at the time, and she did an excellent job on this. I always remember the teaser, because the teaser was something they wholly filmed with a monologue from the actual movie of Ralph Fiennes' character selling you on this technology where you can relive someone else's memories, which is part of the hook of the story. He plays a guy who peddles the memories of other people, and someone is making, I want to say, because it's been a while since I've seen it, someone's selling the memories of people who are being snuffed, and that on the black market can give people a certain high if you watch the memories of people who are being killed, which leads to this big conspiracy that unfolds throughout the film. My favorite performer in this film, though, is Angela Bassett. She plays the Girl Friday to Ralph Fiennes' character, and she's such a badass in this film. It's my favorite role she's ever played, and she's just kicking ass the whole time. And she's just You rarely get to see a black woman depicted in a cyberpunk setting like this. So I appreciated the movie for having someone like that in it. But it's a cool movie. It's another neo noir type mystery, but set in the future in a cyberpunk setting. So if you've never seen Strange Days, please check it out. It's so good. Um, uh, Anybody else have any thoughts on this, Pedro?
No, never seen it. I do. Catherine Bigelow is a director I need to kind of watch more. I've heard that Near Dark is supposed to be a really awesome vampire movie.
Oh man!
Which coincidentally I'm quite in the mood for after Sinners.
Hell yeah!
Yeah. Fucking great movie, by the way. Like, if you haven't seen Sinners, go out and see it. It's great. But yeah, this has been recommended to me for one. You know, people know I like science fiction. They know I like cyberpunk. And also, there's apparently some pretty campy performances from what I've been told that I would enjoy. So yeah, I need to get in on that.
Yeah, Tom Sizemore is wild in this movie too, man. It's
That's the one. Yes, it was Tom Sizemore,
who's also in Devil in the Blue Dress, if I recall correctly.
Yes.
So yeah,
He was in a lot of these movies at the time.
he sure was.
He's like a shotgun. You just have to know how to wield it to get what you want.
All right. Moving into video games, we're going to have to cut this down substantially.
Oh yeah.
We had the U.S. launch of both the Sega Saturn and the PlayStation. We don't have the time to talk about any of these games, but they launched with some notable titles like the Saturn with Panzer Dragoon, a port of the arcade hit Daytona.
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation launched with some games that stood out like Wipeout, Twisted Metal, Battle Arena Toshinden, which from what I understand was not a great game, but it was kind of all there was at the time.
Yeah.
On the Super NES, we had some notable titles. We had Mega Man X3, which I believe was also later ported to Saturn and PlayStation.
Yep.
At least one of those. Mega Man 7, kind of an okay game. Not one of my favorites among the original Mega Man series. I would rank it lower than any of the NES games.
Mm-hmm.
Secret of Evermore, a game that I know that Pedro liked.
Oh, I love Secret of Evermore. I said this. I skied it on Blue Sky, but I like Secret of Evermore more than I like Secret of Mana.
What?
I'm just that guy. Yeah,
You are that
I
guy.
do. I don't know, man. I've tried Secret of Mana a bunch of times, and it's fine.
Oh,
It's
wow.
absolutely fine.
I guess.
I like Secret of Evermore more. I like Secret of Evermore more, and I like Seiken Densetsu 3.
Oh, okay, right on.
I do like Secret of Evermore more than Seiken Densetsu 3 because I do feel that it is a more unique setting. Like, just having like the modern kid in these basically
Just
a
out here
kid getting
saying
a
heresies.
Yeah. And also the chunk in the middle of Trials of Mana when you're trying to fight these, I think it's like 6 or 7 beasts or something like that. Like, it's really easy to get lost, and every time I get to that section, it's a little bit not like a lot. Like, you're left a little bit too open to find stuff, and that kind of throws me off every time I play it. Secret of Evermore, it's nice, it's quick, it doesn't waste your time too much. I like it. I really like it. It's a real shame that the Square of America made it, right?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, and that was their only game. That's a real shame that it didn't end up doing so well.
No,
Would have been real nice for them to do more.
They did Final Fantasy. They did a Final Fantasy game before that. It was like a baby.
Mystic Quest?
Yeah, Mystic Quest. They did that as well. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
They dabbled a little bit, but yeah. Secret of Evermore was cool. I wasn't crazy about it as much as I was Secret of Mana. But Mega Man 7's so easy. It's one of the easiest Mega Mans ever. X3, I never played X2 or 3. And that's something I need to rectify because I'm a Mega Man guy, but classic Mega Man. So I played every classic Mega Man and beat most of them, but just didn't get in the X series after 1. But yeah, Trials of Mana I'd still need to try. But yeah, SNES had some killers this year.
Trials of Mana also did release this year.
Mm-hmm.
We also had Tales of Fantasia, which was not released in the US. This was, of course, the first title in Namco's Tales series that is still going 30 years later, with many, many, many titles. We also had Donkey Kong Country 2: Diddy's Conquest, which is seen by most people as a big improvement on the first, because it is.
Yep.
We have Dragon Quest 6, which also was not initially released in the US until we got the DS remake of 4, 5, and 6.
Mm-hmm.
We also had Yoshi's Island, which was released in the US with the title Super Mario World 2. Absolutely beautiful game, made really great use of Super Effects chip to create this sort of like coloring book world that really is a stark contrast from Mario World and only being 5 years apart. Like, it's really amazing how far the Super NES went in its lifespan.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And if you really want a good example of not just like how pretty the game is, but like how mechanically dense it is, look up some of the speed runs. There's like one Trihex, I think is his name, is the speedrunner. From, it's at this point like 12 years ago, where he's doing this live run where they have a camera, like obviously they're streaming the TV, but they also have a camera on his hands, because like to see like the hand techniques that you have to do to be able to get to the quality of run that he has almost like a perfect run that only goes a little bit south when like a fire alarm went off, so they had to stop it, and when you get back, like it took him a while to like warm up again. But it really shows like that's a very interesting game, not just for its visuals. Like, its gameplay is also really solid.
Good stuff.
We also have. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
We also have Front Mission, which was also not released in America, but we did eventually get the DS remake, and more recently, Front Mission First, another remake on Switch and I believe PC as well. I know Yahtzee's a big fan of that one.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, one of the all-time greatest games ever,
Yes,
Chrono
sir.
Trigger. We did an entire episode on Chaos Theater about it. I think it was actually one of our earliest episodes. Like,
It's one of our first 5 episodes.
yeah, that's how much it mattered to us to talk about that game. Unmatched. And yes, everybody got fired up about rumors of a remake that turned out to not be true. But boy, wouldn't it be nice if we had an HD 2D remake of this in the style of Octopath games and the Dragon Quest remakes that are coming out now? Like, it'd be perfect.
Yeah,
I would love
I
to
mean,
see
I would hope that like the fervor caused by that would have been something like the why can't I remember his name? Deadpool. The Deadpool actor, like him leaking the test footage.
Ryan Reynolds. Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds. Yeah.
The quote unquote leaking. Yeah.
Yeah. No, exactly. That's what I mean. Like,
will it into existence? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and considering what like the reaction was, like Square needs to be looking at this, and especially with whatever bullshit that they're saying that they're keeping everything as safe as possible with their releases. This is about as safe as you could fucking get. Like, you have the people, you have, with the exception of Toriyama, rip Miss Toriyama.
Yeah.
But everybody else is still kicking.
Yeah.
Just drop the check. Cut the check.
You do have Toriyama's understudy, who's currently working on Dragon Ball Super right now. So if you wanted to get someone from Bird Studio to work on this, he would be the guy. Let me tell you something about Chrono Trigger. It is not. I still consider Final Fantasy VI the greatest RPG ever made, but Chrono Trigger is my favorite RPG of all time. Just the experience of getting it. I pre-ordered this game, waited a long time to get it, got it on day one, beat this game 10 ways from Sunday. Literally, because you got 10 different endings in this game. This game was my life for like 3 months. I would just come home and play the shit out of this game. And New Game Plus was one of the coolest things I ever experienced at the time. Being able to go through the game and basically dissect it in the way you wanted to once you beat it properly. But also to have like your choices, the ramifications of your choices come back at you. I think this is the first time in a game I experienced that besides Final Fantasy VI and not Saving Shadow. So if you chose to eat the sandwich or didn't in the beginning of the game, that was kind of an example of the butterfly effect which this game had in it. The litany of characters, the fact that you reach a certain point, and I don't want to spoil things, but you lose someone and you can choose to go through the rest of the game and not get them back. You're fucking insane if you don't, but you can do it.
Yeah. Oh, your strongest character. You're not gonna do
Yeah,
that,
it's like
right?
some people choose to do it, and that's your business. But I'm getting it back. I pride myself in getting everyone in this game, especially when you have the choice to kill a certain character, instead of taking them on. It's like I've never made that choice ever. I think I did to get a certain ending, but other than that, I usually
Yeah.
don't make that choice. But Chrono Trigger is such a delight to play. And it's shorter than you would think. It's shorter than most RPGs, but just the
Got
experience of
plenty
going.
of endings though,
Yeah, the endings. That's
which gives you the replay
But
value. And
but
I don't know if Chrono Trigger was literally the first game to do New Game Plus, but it was certainly the most high-profile example of it at
yeah,
the time.
it's the first game I ever
it was
played that
it
had
was
the option. But go ahead.
it was the first game that called it New Game Plus.
Yeah, but other
Whether or
people
not it
have
was used before, they're the one that, or they were like, if you call it New Game Plus, it's because of Chrono Trigger.
a lot of.
I recently replayed this while I was recovering from a procedure,
Nice.
and I beat it. And now, granted, like I have played this game, at least 30 times
Yeah.
in my life, like just over and over and over again. So I played it from scratch. Had been a long time since I'd done that completely new save file. 100%ed it in 18 hours, right? Because I knew where everything was. But the one thing that I really, really noticed when I'm playing it this time is like how there is no empty space in that game. That game moves. That game
Yeah.
really knows how to move you from place to place. Still give you some stuff to look at. You know, there's some side stuff, but they're really smart about like getting you from place to place, giving you some chance to kind of look around and figure stuff out. You know, obviously, since I knew everything, I was jumping from spot to spot, but like it doesn't waste your time. And it's something, especially after I finished Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, like just companies need to know how to not waste people's fucking time.
Yeah, man.
So that there should be like gaming, like game making 101. Play Chrono Trigger, know how not to waste people's time.
And this game was made before Square and Enix became one company, right? So you had a bunch of talent from Enix coming over to Square to work on this game too, which is an absolute treat to see these different minds coming together to make it. And then the experience of going through the game is just a wonderful time, man. I still go through it, and when I go through the game, I have a smile on my face from ear to ear, man. It's a fantastic RPG, man. Please find it. And if they do remake this game, I don't want them to just make a HD remaster. I want them to approach this like the Final Fantasy VII remakes and really do go back into the guts of this series, or this game, I should say, and give us even more time travel possibilities and more storylines they may have not been able to put into the original, and just give this the.
I don't know if I trust the Square Enix
No.
of now
Oh, you
to
don't
go
Man.
back into that. Where I do not trust them
Man.
at all to go
Damn.
to the world of the old Square.
Yeah.
Like I don't trust them to do more than just a straight up remake. They are literally not the same company,
Oh,
and
shit.
I think they would just fuck it up trying to expand.
Mm.
Just look at Kingdom Hearts as an example of that.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
So,
and some of the extra stuff in the Chrono Trigger DS, which let me tell you, Chrono Trigger DS is a very excellent version of that game. That extra stuff, pretty superfluous. Like it's not offensive, but like really adding it, like yeah, you get your links to Chrono Cross, but you know,
What about
it didn't need it.
what about the PlayStation version? Did you guys enjoy that?
The PlayStation version of Chrono Trigger?
Yeah, with the anime scenes and all that.
Oh, I mean, I played it because at the time I wanted to buy Chrono Trigger, but it's a terrible, terrible version.
Yeah, it's
so bad.
yeah, it's not as good as it could have been, but just was curious. But yeah, that's all I got to say. It's a fantastic game.
All right, Sobro.
Yep.
To close this out,
I'll be
I'm going to
quick.
skip on down
I'll
to
pop-
the fighting game speed run.
Yeah.
You can mention up to 5 of these games to talk about a little bit more. So
Okay.
pick wisely.
All right. Well, Street Fighter Alpha was probably the first on my list because out of this year, that was my favorite game. I love the makeover they gave the Street Fighter series. They made it look like the anime movie that came out the year before, and the sprites got an overhaul. It was a fantastic representation. Alpha 2 would come out the next year and be the best fighting game to me, taking me into the new millennium. But other than that, Marvel Superheroes also was the second in the Versus series from Capcom. It was their second Marvel fighting game, and it's a pretty cool representation. For those who watch the MCU movies, this game represented the Infinity Gem or Infinity War storyline in that. KOF 95. I'm quite a King of Fighters 95. I'm quite fond of this game because it came out the year of my graduation. But it's Fireball City. It's from SNK. There's two games in this list that are partial inspirations for Smash Brothers. One of them is the King of Fighters series. The other one is a game called the Outfoxies. And this is a game that not many people have heard of, but it's the first platform fighter to exist. It was made by Namco Bandai. It's pretty incredible, actually. But the developer of Smash Brothers saw both KOF and the Outfoxies and got the idea to make Smash Brothers a couple years down the road. So other than that, just to be quick, Night Warriors is a fantastic game from Capcom as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you've got to talk about fucking Darkstalkers. Yeah, Night Wars.
I played the shit out of this game on the Saturn, which came out the next year on the Saturn. Owned that game. It was the fighting game that me and my friends would play after work all the time. VF, Virtual Fighter 2, Tekken 2, Battle Toshinden, Arena Toshinden 2, which is a much better game than the original, are great 3D fighting games. And other than that, I won't bore you all to tears. But yeah, a ton of fighting games came out in 1995. If you look at this list on screen right here, you can see them all. It's a lot. I didn't expect to talk about them all, but this was one of the most prolific year for fighting games, period. Cyberbots is a great game too, by the way. If you're a mecha anime fan, Cyberbots is a dope game. There's a game that came out recently called Iron something, which is a big crossover fighting game with a lot of super robots like Combattler V and whatnot that are in it. And it takes a great inspiration from Cyberbots. I heard this from the creator himself. So if you like Cyberbots, also Iron Saga is the name of the game, by the way. Find Iron Saga if you like Cyberbots as well. But pretty cool games, man. I'm a big fighting game nut, as you guys well know, so I was in hog heaven this year. So that's all I'll say. But if you guys have anything you want to mention about this, by all means.
So, bro, looking at all the games on the list, including the ones you didn't mention, it kind of seems like 1995, looking back, was the year where 3D fighting games really took hold and started to dominate. So would you say that's an accurate assessment?
Yeah, VF2 is one of the greatest fighting games of all time. And so is Tekken 2, to be quite honest with you, because they the first games in their series were experiments, really. But when they created
Virtual Fighter 1 is a glorified tech demo.
Yes, but VF2, they really found their footing, and it's a very good competitive fighter. It was one of the best games on the Sega Saturn when it was made available for it. Tekken 2 is no joke either. There's a fighting game on this list that's also not very well known, but it launched with the PlayStation here in the States. It's called Zero Divide. It's at the very bottom of the list here. It's a really cool fighting game that features robots, but it plays very nicely. And it was made by a bunch of dudes in a fucking garage. Because back in the day, when you were developing for the PlayStation, they made the system so easy to program that a lot of the most famous games that came out for that system were made by very small teams. I don't know if I added Jumping Flash to the list earlier, but that was another game made by a small team too. And Jumping Flash is a cool game that launched with the PlayStation also. But Zero Divide has a cool soundtrack, and it's a really cool niche fighting game for those who never tried it. But yeah, 3D fighting definitely came into its own. Oscar 120% also was one of the first games I imported for the Sega Saturn, and it came out in this year as well. So yeah, it was a cool year for fighters, man. Real cool.
All right. Well, I want to thank Pedro for joining us to talk about 1995. He will join us again later in the year to talk about 2005 and then finally about 2015. So, Pedro, where can people find you on the interwebs?
Oh, I'm nowhere. I guess, I don't know. Finding me online feels weird nowadays.
Oh, man.
I'm in the private sector. I guess you could find me if you look for Gurren Lagann. You can find me in a couple places. Just search that, and if you see my dumb face, go ahead and reach out.
All right, Sobro, tell them where they should all be going to find out more stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find us, of course, at the website where the magic happens. That's mahq.net. Head on over there and make sure to hit the favorite button there. Check out the updates, the articles that are being posted, and articles on your favorite mecha anime series, or the sections that are there. You can find reviews for your favorite mecha anime series, as well as schematics and information on your favorite mecha from those shows as well. If you want to find us, you can watch us live here on youtube.com/mahqdotnet, or over on twitch.tv/Fighters Ready, is where we also stream simultaneously on Twitch, if you prefer to watch on Twitch. Thank you guys for supporting the show. If you guys have time, make sure to go over to Fighters Ready on Twitch and hit the follow button there as well. And I believe I might be streaming tomorrow. I haven't streamed in a while because I've been dealing with some life shit. But if I am, you can follow me over on Twitter at not Twitter. Oh my God, fuck that. On Blue,
fuck the Nazi Bird app.
On Blue Sky. At
There you
Sober
go.
Radio. You go over there and follow me. And
No Nazi birds.
Yeah, no Nazi birds. None of that shit. I have not posted on Twitter in fucking months. Man, guys.
Go and skeet at your friends.
Exactly. Thank you for supporting the show, guys, and you guys are the best, man. Thanks for watching.
I'll also add, if you want to check out, I recently added an entirely new section for Addicts 01 and Neo's favorite tank pilot of all time, Kilgore.
Hell yeah.
You can go check out my review and look at all the nice profiles for robots and for Kilgore's tank.
Oh, and actually, I do have one thing I'd like to plug. Chris and I do occasionally still do Chaos Theater articles, Chaos Theater Redux, and I just recently did one about a game I just finished called Lost Records Bloom and Rage, done by the people who did Life is Strange. That game fucked me up emotionally. It made me feel a lot, and I wrote about that because I feel like we should be talking about things that make us have strong emotional reactions and make you feel and connect. And that's important to me. So
absolutely,
give that a read if you got some time, if you haven't already.
I'll just tease out that we're working on some new articles. I have a series forthcoming at some point talking about MCU, because a few things have happened in the MCU since Chaos Theater ended in 2017. So
shit.
End of 2017. End of 2017.
We're talking about some of those minor things that have happened here and there over the last.
There was a glove involved. There was some rocks.
Some purple guy. Yeah,
some purple dude got angry. He snapped.
So Secret Invasion then. All right. I'm
Spider-Man's tummy hurt. He told Mrs. Stark his tummy hurt. Yeah, some
and then they forgot about him. And that kind of sucked. Yeah.
So be on the lookout for that. And also, on MAHQ, we appreciate if you can support us on Ko-fi.
Yes.
Anything that you can help with is great. Or, just sharing the website, just telling your friends, that helps too. Anything that supports us, we appreciate. And thank you for listening. And in closing, this is Gundam. We're getting the fuck out of here.
What we do here is go back.